Welcome back to the weekly installment of the Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering this week, and we have a few cards we are going to hone in on because these cards have skyrocketed in sales and the prices are starting to get out of hand. You are not going to want to miss the explosion of what we're about to experience here on this week's Top 10. Welcome back to the weekly installment of the Top 10, the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering. This week, I am your host, MTG Moxman, and we're going to have some fun this week. Just stick around. The next 10 minutes are going to be pure joy and excitement. A reminder, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, or you can use my TCG Player affiliate link found in the description of my video. Let's get this party started at number 10. The number 10 card this week is Mox Amber from Dominaria. Now, this card has an average price of $44.60. It had 612 sales this week. That's $27,295.20. Now, what's going on is the fact that we have Mox Opal being a strong contender now in Modern, and cards like Mox Amber, of course, work with Metalcraft, and you can get some mega ramp going with cards like these. That's causing an uptrend in the sales of Mox Amber, and you can expect this card probably in the next month or so to hit the $50 mark. Pay attention to this if you don't own it yet, and yes, if you've looked around, you'll notice that Mox Amber is kind of in short supply, and yeah, it's my fault. I'm going to take full ownership. I have the most in the world, and that's the way it's going to be. Let's take a look at number 9 this week, and we have Demilich from Adventures in Forgotten Realms. This card is now averaging out, and it's around $11.84 per copy. Now, this one here works well with the Arc-like Phoenix deck. It had 700 sales this week, which is $8,288. Now, this one going into Modern is having a lot of fun, okay? Working this with the Arc-like Phoenix, putting lots of sorceries and instants in there. Now, I expected the sales to really trend down this week, but surprisingly enough, the Demilich has held quite a bit of value, and it's because of what it can do and its effects in the graveyard and coming back. The fact it and the Arc-like can just recursion over and over again with enough spells means this guy is kind of a mean contender, and there's been a lot of action around the sales in the secondary market. Does this mean he's going to get a reprint, sooner rather than later? This deck would have to win some serious competitions and put a lot more pressure on the supply to have that happen. So at this point, let's enjoy what the card's doing. Let's see how it does in the market the next 90 days, and let's see if some major events get won using a deck containing this card. Now, our next card is Mox Opal. This one continues to be just a banger out there in the sales division. $180.05, 806 sales. That's $145,000. Now, last week we had $345,000. That means in a 14-day period, we have over $500,000 in total sales. That is insane. Now, this card, by the way, it's going to be primed for a reprint as far as I'm concerned. You can check out my Madness video covering a lot of the content and sales action for this card. It goes a lot more in depth than what we're going to talk about here in the top 10 video. But that Metalcraft effect, things like Mox Amber, and what this card can still utilize inside Urza's, you're going to see a whole bunch of artifact decks using some of the cards from the Brothers War. We're seeing a lot of players experiment and work into new decks to see if they can really break it out. So keep this in mind. It's not going anywhere, and the pressure on the supply of this card is continuing to grow. You can't sell 800 copies every week. There's just not enough in the market space. So just keep it in mind. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, which is Up the Beanstalk. Guys, Wilds of Eldraine, this card continues to kind of show its face and say, hey, try me out. Now, this card is still being played in Standard, and it's had a real turnout in the last couple of weeks where I've seen a lot more copies showing up in gameplay on Friday night, Saturday Magic. I've seen this thing on Arena continually now, and it's under $5 at $3.28. The fact it fits well into modern beastie decks, green aggro, you're going to see this thing go along. $2,700 in sales is nothing, and the supply of this card is actually pretty consistent, so it's got a long way to go before this card would really start shooting up in price. You don't have to be panic buying this thing, but if you're interested in building a green aggro, you might want to get this guy at the low price point now. It's going to be in Standard for a couple of years still, so that's a good sign that this card's going to have a lot of play time available before it rotates out, and its price point is not going to change as an uncommon, which is pretty good for everybody involved who wants to get into Standard. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next card. Kind of a surprise, I'll have to be honest. It came out of nowhere, but here it is, and the cards and the sales show it. Here is the hollow one from the Hours of Devastation, $4.92 a copy. Now, when we look at this copy a little bit closer, 1,893 sales, $9,300 in actual total sales volume. Now, I remember this card from M on Ken. I didn't think much of it, but then you realize Mox Opal is here, and you've got a lot of ways of using things like Faithless looting, ways of ramping up the mana. So what does the Hollow One do for us? Well, a 5 casting cost artifact golem, but it costs 2 less to cast for each card you've cycled or discarded. That's where Faithless looting and other cycling cards come into play. Now, a card that didn't make the list this week is Lorien Revealed, as well as all of the modern lands or things that cycle from Lord of the Rings. They didn't make the list, but the sales are all trending upward on these cards, and the pressure is going to mount. So keep an eye on those cards. The Hollow One is a sign of things to come. All right, now our next card is the Mossborn Hydra. It's making a lot of inroads in Standard right now, and it's something to keep in mind. This card had 2,009 sales or 8,200 in total sales volume. It's trending up ever so slightly. It's only gone up a buck something in a month, but it's still better than I expected. At $4.09 a copy, it's still very affordable. And this card as a mid-game card can be great when you're cycling through a lot of lands that let you get things like Fabled Passage and stuff really work well. Now this Elemental Hydra, the +1/+1 counter, I'll be honest, he has no protection. He doesn't have haste, so he's not a be-all, end-all creature, but when people have tapped out and don't have the available cards to deal with him, as a mid-range card that appears middle to late game, he's actually a game-ending beast unless you top draw something if you've spent all your destruction dealing with minor or bigger creatures earlier in the game. Now for our next card, we're jumping over to Sheltered by Ghosts. That is Duskmourn House of Horror. $6.44. This card continues to see upward trends at 2,180 sales. It shows no signs of stopping. That's $14,000 in total sales volume. This card, the fact it gives it the ward, the +1, and it exiles something, that is a lot of bonus stuff going on for a 2 casting cost enchantment aura. 1 white, 1 other. This is insane for actually what it does. And as an uncommon, we've talked about this in the recent sets we've had this year, all the way back to Murders at Karlov Manor, that all these uncommons are just not that uncommon. They're actually harder to find, and the values are really trending upward because the money moves on so quickly. So cards like this could reach the $8 to $9 mark if pressure continues, and if the success of this card continues to show through in tournament play, including Standard, of course. I've also seen it in Commander, honestly. Now, for our next card, we have Boltwave, and this is no surprise to anyone. It's getting played in Standard Aggro. It's getting played in Commander. 2,980 sales, 13,923 in total sales volume. And it's because of the fact that this card says 3 damage to each opponent. It is a superior version to the earlier cards that came before it. The fact this hits every opponent for 1 is insane. And if you can find ways of making this thing recurge, oh, it's just a destructive beast. You're going to be taming the storm, all right. You're going to have people really mad at you. The fact that it has a Rouse Eric quote as the flavor text is not bad. I'm going to be honest, it's not bad. This card's under $5 still, which makes it kind of a banger. And again, you notice it's an uncommon from Foundations. Pay attention to these uncommons. They are just beastie, okay? They are not the uncommons we knew of from 5 years ago. Now let's go ahead and take a look because we're moving down the list, and we've got the Faithless looting. Now, I put some asterisks here today because we got to explain. This is a 66-cent card. I counted 4,600 sales before I quit. That's $3,000 in total sales action, but that's only this version. The asterisks are because I did not look at all the other versions, and that means overall, I think we hit around 12,000 sales on this card. 12,000 in total for Faithless looting. That tells you that people are building with it. Do not ignore the trend. The trend is your friend till the end. That's what people are utilizing, and decks are coming your way that are going to be spiced up with this card. Look at the Hollow one. It shouldn't be on my list, but it is, and that's because the sales of what people are doing, utilizing, and creating are causing a kind of maelstrom effect of all these sales. They're all going together with synergy to let you know that people like what they see. The unbannings have got a lot of spice in them. All right, now for our next card, that's right. You've made it to the end. You've got Meltdown, Retro Frame, Modern Horizons 3, 45 cents for this card. 6,438 sales. I'll be honest, I had to stop counting. It was too many for me to handle by myself. I didn't call in outside help, so I had to stop the sales here. So really, it's probably above 10,000. Now, It's not a high volume item, but when you look at Meltdown, let's not forget what this card is going to do for you, okay? Destroy each artifact with mana X or less. Faithless looting, hollow one. Look where this is going. Look at this card. Wizards told you they gave you ways of dealing with Mox Opal, Mox Amber, and this is the card, the great equalizer that is being utilized by everybody in a sideboard in case they come up against these beastie artifact decks or any of this craziness that's going to be coming down the pipe to ramp up mana from these cards. Keep it in mind, Meltdown is your friend, but the good news is the price isn't going up. All right, let's get to the roundup here of the video today. Welcome back to the wrap-up of today's video. Now, I find it very interesting to see cards like Splinter Twin not make the list. 400 plus sales, but not enough to make it to the top 10. Mox Amber's continued growth in sales lets us know that Mox Opal is working in tandem. Meltdown followed by Hollow One. The cards we're seeing, including Demilich, Arclight Phoenix didn't make the list, but these cards are modern played and they are aggressive. When you look at these cards in synergy and sales, you can see what people are building before they actually even have the cards in their possession yet. It lets you know what's coming down the pipeline, and it shows you the sales volumes and the interest in these modern decks. Now, with so many formats played in Magic the Gathering, let's be honest, some of this video doesn't even pertain to you, and you don't care. I care about the sales volumes, I care about the numbers, and where people are spending their money. It gives you an insight to see which formats are being played often. When you see continued sales in a certain area, you know that that area and that area of the market is stronger than you first may have anticipated. It may be stronger because you didn't realize there was that many people playing Modern. Same as when I see massive Commander sales spike into the market and know that that card is a Commander card played in a certain deck. No different than when reserve list cards sell and we see a massive spike because of deals or sales or some form of buyout. The way we're going to see this spread out is going to be Mox Opal is the center key ring culprit to what's going on in the market space, followed by Faithless Looting, and then we've also got Splinter Twin. These cards are having massive takes in sales right now. Splinter Twin may not have made the list, but Mox Opal made it for a second week in a row. Faithless Looting, the sales got so crazy on all the different types people were buying, including the Dungeons and Dragons one has a really strong following of people trying to buy a playset of 4. It's causing the price on some of those rarer versions of Faithless Looting to really go up in price. So although you get the cheap one for like 60, 70 cents, some of the ones are going for like 20 bucks. Keep that in mind. All of these cards are not created equal, and that artwork is sought after by certain players, and they're modern and they want 4. Now, here at the end of the video, I gotta be honest. I thought some of the sales were gonna be a lot lower this week, and others I thought were gonna be a lot higher. They started out strong and kind of petered off at the end of the week. We're here at the end of the year. We got a whole new year ahead of us with new crazy sales to talk about. But these are, for the most part, year over year, these are massive sales numbers this week. The trend here is way higher and stronger than I would have anticipated. And that is a good sign for the health of what's going on in the game right now. It doesn't matter if we like it. It doesn't matter if we're fond of it and we think this is the best. It shows you what's going on. The numbers don't lie to you because they are sales numbers. They are transactions. Somebody bought them, somebody sold them, and somebody still wants them. Yeah, Mox Diamond is still really sought after. It's crazy. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here for the video today. Drop some comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking out there in the market space. Are you playing Modern? Are you building some of these decks yourself? Because something tells me a lot of you guys are. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow for the Reserve List Top 10 and the Patreon. Don't forget, guys, we're going to have the Sunday live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it's because of patrons and YouTube membership members that I get to do that kind of stuff. So thanks again for being supporters. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Go play some Magic. It's a great game. And of course, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel. Because of these patrons, daily uploaded content, information, and ideas are brought to you because of the people supporting my channel. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I know the live stream is going to be a rocking good time, and I can't wait to see you guys all again. So have a great day. Thanks for supporting. And of course, we're always here every single day. I know I'm just like lounging here in a chair. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Some people commented they'd like to see less green screen here when I'm up north at the other property. So instead, you get some wainscoting in the background. You get a Mox man chilled out and just kicking it. Couple of lights in the background here, kind of glaring in my face, but there's no sweat here. We're hanging. We're doing chill time. A lot higher sales. Mox Amber, rocking good time to see that card go up. And yeah, do I feel like I'm bragging a bit? Yep, a little bit of a flex, because that card continues to go up in price and it keeps being sought after. It makes the market demand higher, which means I get to cash out another very large position of that card and move it into other things. Arabian Nights, anybody? Yeah, maybe I'm doing that. Maybe. As soon as I can get everything solidified and confirmed, I will definitely be moving some cards that way. Don't worry, I'll keep some around for you guys on the channel. I've got more than enough to go around, so don't sweat. It'll be a good time for everybody. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Stronger market than expected, by the way. Sealed market stuff. I've kind of gone on the heels of Alpha Investments. I've been looking at a lot of things to see if it's as good or as bad as I thought it might be, and we'll talk about that this week coming. We'll talk about that. I just have to wait for a few more things to be compiled and bug a few people. Okay? Thanks again, guys. Thanks for chilling with me. You guys rock. You know it's true. Boomstick edition. Ramble jamble.